Peace and love, black family. It's the Prince of Pan-Africanism, Dr. Umar Johnson. I'm coming to you live and direct from Minneapolis, Minnesota, the Twin Cities, where I will be speaking at tomorrow. I'm out and about downtown in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and I just had an opportunity to view the interview between comedy political host Bill Maher and our own beloved Dr. Michael Eric Dyson from Georgetown University. Now, earlier today, I did an assessment of Ice Cube's quote-unquote intervention as it relates to Bill Maher's use of the N-word on the Bill Maher Show. I dealt with Ice Cube earlier today, and basically what I said was that I appreciate the fact that Ice Cube took Bill Maher to task on his use of the N-word, but I did not appreciate the way in which he still justified his usage by basically saying that black people have taken the word from white folks, that it belongs to us now, as opposed to denigrating the word in totality by making it clear that no one should be using the word at this time. That's what I felt our brother Ice Cube should have done. He should have totally disintegrated the word, the use of the word altogether, which he did not do. He allowed the N-word to live. Well, I just got finished having dinner, and I had an opportunity to listen to Michael Eric Dyson's interview with Bill Maher, and actually, you know, maybe Ice Cube did a little bit better job than Michael Eric Dyson. Maybe Ice Cube did a little bit better job, because I really felt that Dr. Michael Eric Dyson, whom I respect, although we're both scholars and PhDs, we're on the opposite end of the political spectrum. He's more of a W.E.B. Du Bois integrationist type of scholar, and of course I represent the revolutionary Pan-African nationalist scholarship of a Dr. Amos Wilson and a Dr. John Henry Clark. But be that as it may, this isn't going to be a long video, only about 20 minutes, but I just want to comment on some of the highlights of the interview between the racist, the Irish Jewish racist Bill Maher and his conversation with Michael Eric Dyson, the Christian nationalist scholar. Now, the first thing that I found interesting was that Bill Maher had the audacity to tell Dr. Michael Eric Dyson that his use of the word house nigger was not malicious. How can a malicious word be used non-maliciously? How can a malicious word be used non-maliciously? Someone's going to have to explain that to me. How can a malicious word be used non-maliciously? That doesn't make any sense. Okay, that's like me calling a black woman a bitch and say I didn't mean it maliciously. How can you use a malicious word non-maliciously? That makes absolutely no sense. Okay, and then he also said, Bill Maher basically told Michael Eric Dyson, since you and I are friends, you must know that I was not thinking of basically all that negativity when that came out of my mouth. He said all of the negative things associated with the use of the N-word was not on my mind, okay, when I made that comment. Well, I'm here to tell you, Mr. Bill Maher, that all of that may not have been on your mind, but all of that was in your mind. I repeat, sir, all of that negative imagery and all of the negative narrative surrounding the experience of Africans in America may not have been on your mind, but it was definitely in your mind. The fact that you would even venture to say the word house nigger, to mention the N-word at all, clearly says that you are as much a racist as all other white people are. Now, unlike my colleague, Dr. Michael Eric Dyson, I don't put white people in categories. In this conversation that Dr. Dyson had with Bill Maher, he went out of his way to almost, he forgave him as well, as did Ice Cube, which I totally have an issue issue with, but it was clear from Dr. Dyson's rhetoric that he also puts white people in different categories. You all know my teachings and my premise and my positions and my lessons to the black community, and principle amongst those lessons are that every last one, in totality, all Europeans, all Caucasians, all members of ICE culture are in fact racist, that there are no exceptions whatsoever. But nonetheless, Michael Eric Dyson proceeded to make Bill Maher comfortable by reminding him how much he is on the front lines of fighting for basically minority issues and multicultural issues. And he basically, talked about how, he was disappointed because they are friends. Michael Eric Dyson is a friend with the white man who uses the N-word. And what you need to understand, Dr. Michael Eric Dyson, if he's willing to say the N-word on national television, you can only imagine how comfortable he is saying this when no one else is around. In fact, since you consider him to be your friend, and as you know, my premise, no black person can have white people as friends. No black person can have white people as friends. If you understood white supremacy, it would be impossible for you to have a white person as a friend. But be that as it may, Dr. Michael Eric Dyson, you're a learned man. You're a very educated man. Have you ever stopped to ask your good friend, Dr. Bill Maher, who you stated, which I thought was quite interesting, Dr. Michael Eric Dyson stated that he regularly texts Mr. Bill Maher after his shows to let him know what a good job he did. I repeat, during the interview, Dr. Michael Eric Dyson stated that he regularly texts Mr. Bill Maher after his TV show to let him know how good of a job he was doing. So you mean to tell me that you are friends with a white man who on national public television has no problem using the N-word? Okay? And are you meaning to tell me, Dr. Michael Eric Dyson, that you believe that this white man ever challenges other white people when they use the N-word? Because I can guarantee you that he hears the N-word a whole lot more than you and I hear it. I'm willing to bet he hears it from his Irish family. I'm willing to bet that he hears it from his Jewish family. I'm willing to bet that he hears it from his neighbors. I'm willing to bet that he hears it from his co-workers and that he hears it from his friends. White people hear the N-word as often as they hear the word black. White people hear the N-word as often as they hear the word American. White people hear the N-word as much as they hear the words breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Okay? The N-word is nothing new to white America because they invented it. So if you think for one moment that a white man will get on national television and use the N-word, that he could care less about how often he uses it outside of the presence of black people, then you have something else. Something else that you need to be researching, my brother. You are far too intelligent to believe in that type of nonsense. Now, what I did not appreciate, Dr. Michael Eric Dyson, although he attempted to take Bill Maher to task like Ice Cube did, he attempted to take Bill Maher to task like Ice Cube did, but just like Ice Cube, he let him off the hook. Ice Cube forgave him. Michael Eric Dyson forgave him. Now, what I did not appreciate was how Bill Maher, as opposed to saying I was wrong, and that's the end of it, and I thank you black people for not taking it further, although he did say he was wrong, he also basically stated in so many words that he feels that we should not be as upset with him for using the word nigger, because as he said, I am a product of the country. This is what Bill Maher said. He said, I am a product of the country. And then he also said, everyone makes mistakes. And then he also said, I am a sinner like everyone else. Oh, really, Bill Maher? Is that the way it goes, huh? Is that the way it goes? So since you're a product of the country, and because everyone makes mistakes, and because you are a sinner like everyone else, you should be forgiven. So if that be the case, how about you go out and find all the black people who have been fired from network television, have their NBA careers destroyed, have their NFL careers destroyed, simply because they made a comment that certain European Jews perceived to be insensitive to their legacy and to their Holocaust. People have had their lives destroyed have had their lives turned upside down because of comments they made that were not necessarily as blatantly racist as the one you made the other day about black people. So if you're telling me that people should be able to understand, because you live in a racist country, that occasionally you are going to make racist comments, then why don't you go and fight for all the black people who have had their lives destroyed by your European Jewish family? By your European Jewish family. You are a member of the Jewish community. You are a member of the Irish community. Two of the most racist groups against African people. You belong to both of them. What have you done? What have you done to save the lives of black folks who have inadvertently, but not intentionally, insulted European Jews? You know what you've done, Bill Maher? You have done nothing. You know why you have done nothing? Because you know your Jewish community will not tolerate the slightest ounce of disrespect. You know your Jewish community will not tolerate the slightest ounce of disrespect. Furthermore, Bill Maher, I'm willing to bet that if Ice Cube or Michael Eric Dyson had a talk show, I'm willing to bet that if Ice Cube or Michael Eric Dyson had a talk show where they inadvertently used a racial slur about European Jews, you would be one of the first Jews in Hollywood calling for their jobs and an end to their show. Tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me if I'm wrong. If Ice Cube inadvertently made a racial slur about European Jews, would you have been as forgiving as Ice Cube has been forgiving of you? If Michael Eric Dyson on his radio show inadvertently made a racist comment about European Jews, would you have been as willing to forgive Michael Eric Dyson for his inadvertent racist comment about European Jews as he was willing to forgive you? I think we both know the answer to that, Bill Maher, don't we? I think we both know the answer to that. And we as black men have to stop forgiving white men when they disrespect our family. We are the men. Ice Cube, Dr. Michael Eric Dyson, we are the men. And it does not do us any good for y'all to make them feel uncomfortable for 5 or 10 minutes after they've insulted our entire race and then turn around and say, I forgive you, let's move on. Do you think the European Jews would have turned around and said, I forgive you? Look at how they deal with racial incidents, and look at how Black America deals with racial incidents. When someone insults a European Jew, it becomes a national issue. They call for their job. They call for their name. They call for their reputation. They call for their livelihood. And they definitely call for their show. Remember when Arsenio Hall had Minister Farrakhan on the Arsenio Hall show? Do you remember when Arsenio Hall had Minister Farrakhan on the Arsenio Hall show? Did Minister Farrakhan make a single disrespectful comment about European Jews? Absolutely not. The minister, I don't believe, even mentioned Jews in his interview on the Arsenio Hall show. But wasn't that Arsenio Hall show terminated automatically? Wasn't the Arsenio Hall show terminated within 24 hours? And did that not for a long time set Arsenio Hall back? And Arsenio Hall has been gone for television for over 2 decades, and he's just now making a comeback right now. That's how European Jews deal with disrespect, and look at how, and contrast that to how African black men deal with disrespect. We forgive them in less than 5 minutes. We forgive them in less than 5 minutes. How in the hell can you forgive the insult to a people who have suffered enough insults? The African Ma'afa, the international European slave trade, was the greatest unnatural disaster in human history. The African slave trade was the greatest unnatural disaster in human history. You can't compare the European Jewish Holocaust to that. You can't compare the Native American Holocaust to that. You can't compare anybody's Holocaust to the Holocaust of African people. And y'all have the audacity to turn around and say, I forgive you. I forgive you. And then you, Michael Eric Dyson, you let your friend, your racist friend, Bill Maher, who likes using the N-word on national TV, you let him make such ridiculous comments as, it wasn't said in malice. How in the hell is the N-word not said in malice? How can the N-word not be said in malice? And then he said, you must know that all of that racist lingo and all of those racist beliefs and stereotypes couldn't have possibly been on my mind when I used the N-word. Well, if that's the case, Bill Maher, what was exactly on your mind? Please tell the black community what exactly was on your mind when you inadvertently called yourself a house nigger. What was on your mind, sir? Was something positive on your mind? What was the imagery? Did you have images of black children owning their own businesses? Is that what was on your mind? Did you have images of black men getting out of jail, okay, and starting their own businesses? Did you have images of African history? Did you have images of a black Jesus? Did you have images of black inventors and scientists? I mean, what exactly was on your mind when you called yourself a house nigger, since you claim there was nothing negative about black people on your mind when you uttered the most racially insensitive word that could possibly be uttered about me and my people? And then Michael Eric Dyson says we are friends, okay? And then he helped Bill Maher escape from ridicule. He helped him defend himself after calling himself a house nigger. Michael Eric Dyson said, quote, "No one ascribed to you a malicious intent." End quote. Let me repeat that. This is coming from one of our leading minds, Dr. Michael Eric Dyson of Georgetown University. He said, quote, "No one ascribed to you any malicious intent." I beg your pardon, Dr. Michael Eric Dyson? I beg your pardon? Did you just get on national TV and sit across from your racist Irish Jewish friend and say that no one ascribed to you a malicious intent? Are you kidding me, sir? Are you kidding me? Has black manhood descended this low that we are now defending white men on national TV when they call themselves house niggas? Is that how bad it has gotten? We're now defending our white friends on national television whenever they decide to use the N-word. And then Bill Maher said, "It's not like I made a career of this." I beg your pardon? He said, quote, "It is not like I made a career of this." Basically saying, I have not made a career of calling myself the house nigger. I have not made a career of calling black people the N-word. But look at how many careers have been destroyed by your Jewish community. Look at how many careers, black people's careers, Arsenio Hall included, have been destroyed by the Jewish community for making one simple, inadvertent comment about European Jews. Not even using a racial slur. But simply making a statement or a remark or an utterance that the Jewish community misinterpreted as being racist. You guys have destroyed entire people's lives. You guys have destroyed entire people's communities. You people have disrupted families because of what you perceive to be racist comments. You have disrupted and destroyed people's lives based off of what you perceive to be racist comments. And you got the audacity to turn around and say you have not made a career of this? What if somebody told European Jews, "Yeah, I said something disrespectful about your Holocaust, but it's only the first time I've done it. I haven't made a career of that." Does that lessen the insult? Does that lessen the insult? Of course it doesn't. And then he said, "We are all sinners. Basically, leave me alone because we all make mistakes." He said, "We are all sinners. Basically, leave me alone because we all make mistakes." And then he said, "I grew up in New Jersey, not Alabama." Ain't this some shit? He said, "I grew up in New Jersey, not Alabama." I grew up in New Jersey. Bill Maher is trying to say that he did not grow up in a racist town. Now, I spent a lot of time in New Jersey. I also know the history of New Jersey, and I also happen to know that New Jersey, like all the states of the original 13 colonies, were all slave states. New Jersey owned slaves. Slavery was prominent in New Jersey. Punishment for slaves was just as harsh in New Jersey as it was in Alabama. So how dare you say, Bill Maher, and how dare you, Michael Eric Dyson, let him make the comment without clarifying? How dare you, Michael Eric Dyson, let Bill Maher make a ridiculous statement like this? Aren't you a historian? I believe Michael Eric Dyson has a PhD in history, and you don't correct your white friend? I believe Michael Eric Dyson has a PhD in history, and you don't correct your white friend when he says, I grew up in New Jersey. I did not grow up in Alabama, as if New Jersey is any better than Alabama. I grew up in Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is just as worse as Texas. Pennsylvania is just as bad as Texas. Pennsylvania has more Ku Klux Klan members than the entire state of Texas. Pennsylvania, employment and incarceration rates for black people are just as bad as they are in Texas and in Georgia and in Alabama. So how dare you say, I grew up in New Jersey? I wasn't exposed to all that. You a damn lie. What white person has ever grown up in a house where they didn't hear a black person called nigger? What white person has ever grown up in a white house under white parents and have never heard their parents call a black person a nigger? You a lie. You a lie. Any white person who says that they never heard their parents call a black person the N-word, you are telling a lie. The N-word is a everyday part of the white vernacular. I was even told by a white policeman when I was assistant principal at a charter school several years ago. He told me, Dr. Johnson, if a white person ever tells you that they have never used the N-word, they a damn lie. He said, if a white person ever tells you that they have never used the N-word, they are a damn lie. And Michael Eric Dyson, you're going to let Bill Maher slide? Michael Eric Dyson, you're going to let Bill Maher slide by saying he grew up in New Jersey, he didn't grow up in Alabama? Are you kidding me? I'm embarrassed to be a black scholar right now. I'm embarrassed to be a PhD right now. This is the way you conduct business? And I'm not throwing you under the bus, my brother. I think you're intelligent. I respect you. But you were cooning. You were cooning on that show. And I'm not sure if you got on that show to criticize your friend's political rhetoric or to sell your book. I'm not sure if you got on the Bill Maher show to criticize his disrespectful towards African people or to sell your book, because it started out with you chastising his use of the N-word, and then it evolved from you chastising Bill Maher's use of the N-word, and it flip-flopped into you advertising your book. So was this about you pushing your book, or was this about you safeguarding the integrity of African people? I would like to know. I would like to know. And then Bill Maher says when he grew up in New Jersey, race didn't exist. Bill Maher says when he grew up in New Jersey, race didn't exist. Who in the hell believes that? The man was born in the 50s. That means you was a child in the 60s. You was a teenager in the 70s, and you want us to believe in a racist-ass state like New Jersey with some of the most segregated cities in all of America? Race didn't exist in New Jersey, and your good friend Michael Eric Dyson let you slide off with that bullshit? And then Michael Eric Dyson says, I don't think most people think you are racist. I beg your pardon, bruh. I beg your pardon, bruh. Did I hear you say that? I hope something was wrong with my ears, because I could have sworn, and I quote, I could have sworn I heard my colleague, Dr. Michael Eric Dyson, say, quote, I don't think most people think you are racist. What in the hell do you call a white person who make N-word jokes? What in the hell do you call a white person who makes N-word jokes? If he ain't racist, what is he? If he ain't racist, what is he? If he isn't racist, what is he? And then he says, I'm just a product of the country. I'm just a product of the country. I'm just a product of the country. And then he says, Bill Maher and Michael Eric Dyson did not check him on none of this, brothers and sisters. Michael Eric Dyson didn't check him on a single statement. And then Bill Maher turns around and says, I don't want people to think this was a race thing. This was a comedian thing. Did y'all hear what I just said? Bill Maher said, quote, I don't want people to think this was a race thing. I want people to think this was a comedian thing. Really? So because you're a comedian, you can't be racist? Or are you saying because you are a comedian, you should be allowed to be racist? Please clarify for me, Bill Maher, because your good black friend, Dr. Michael Eric Dyson, did not force you to clarify. I said your good black friend, Dr. Michael Eric Dyson, did not force you to clarify. So I'm asking you to clarify for me, sir, when you said you don't want people to think this was a race thing, you want people to think that this was a comedy thing. Are you saying that you cannot be a racist because you are a comedian? Or are you saying you should get a pass? Are you saying you should get a pass because you are a comedian? We can't give you no pass. You want to know why we can't give you no pass? Because when our brother, the comedian Tracy Morgan, made a homosexual joke, the homosexuals tried to destroy his damn career. I said when our brother Tracy Morgan made a gay joke during a stand-up comedy skit, the LBGT Army, whom are also racist, tried to destroy Tracy Morgan's career for making a gay joke. But because you use the N-word, you're supposed to get a pass. Nah, bruh. You know what we call that in the hood? We call it white privilege. You know what we call that in the hood? We call that a white man thinking because he is white, he has a right to disrespect anyone else, and they should just brush it off because he is white. It ain't happening, bruh. It ain't happening, bruh. It ain't happening. And then Michael Eric Dyson defending his friend again. Michael Eric Dyson defending his friend again says, the Bill Maher I know has been on the front line protecting, arguing, and standing up for minorities. Quote, the Bill Maher I know has been protecting, arguing, and standing up for minorities. If a black person called a Jew a disrespectful name, if a black person called an Irish a disrespectful name, if a black person called an Italian a disrespectful name, if a black person called a Chinese a disrespectful name, do you think any member of their community would come on that black person show and defend what they did to other Chinese, and defend what they did to other Irish, and defend what they did to other Italians or Jews? You out your damn mind. We both know the answer to that. They have too much race pride, too much race commitment, too much race integrity to ever tolerate the slightest ounce of disrespect. But here we are, we're leading black men, scholars and entertainers, and we are forgiving white people. We're not even taking them to task, and then we are defending them to other black folks. Absolutely unacceptable. And then Michael Eric Dyson talks about how he texts Bill Maher every week after the show. And then Bill Maher says, I've been on for 24 years. I should be allowed to use the N-word once in a while. I've been on for 24 years. How long was Arsenio Hall on before they destroyed him? How many years Tracy Morgan been doing comedy before they tried to destroy him? And there's so many other people whose names I can't recall or be conscious of in the moment because I'm a little bit excited about this. But I'm sure if I did the research, I can find hundreds of black people who had their lives destroyed by European Jews for making inadvertent comments, but we supposed to let you slide because you're a white boy. And then Michael Eric Dyson, once again, defending his white friend, says, quote, your consciousness causes you to be reflective. Your consciousness causes you to be reflective. Really, Mike? Really? The only reason why that white boy apologized is he don't want to lose his job. And the only reason why he brought you on the show is because he knew you would defend him. The only reason why he brought you on his show is because he knew you would defend him. And then you start talking about your damn book. Oh, and then Michael Eric Dyson, and I'm going to end it on this, because this was embarrassing. I'm going to end it on this, brothers and sisters. This is the Prince of Pan-Africanism coming to you live from Twin Cities, Minneapolis, Minnesota, downtown, enjoying the view of the water. I'll be speaking tomorrow at the Capri Theater. Doors open up at 4, lecture 6 to 9. I'll be speaking here in Minneapolis, Minnesota tomorrow at the Capri Theater. Doors open up at 4. Lecture from 6 to 9, followed by a book signing. And I'm going to talk about this in my lecture. So come on out, St. Paul. Come on out, Minneapolis. Come on out, Minnesota. I'm talking about this tomorrow. We're going to go in on this Ice Cube, Michael Eric Dyson thing. But I'm not going to go in too hard on Ice Cube. He was weak too, but he did better than Dyson. And for Dyson to be a scholar, Dyson should have did better than Ice Cube. For Dyson to be a scholar and Ice Cube to be an entertainer, I believe Ice Cube exercised a just slightly more masculine energy than Dyson did. So I'm not going to go in on Ice Cube too much because he's not a scholar. Dyson is a scholar. He should have slammed, wham, bam, and canned Bill Maher. He should have slammed, wham, bammed, and canned Bill Maher. Dr. Michael Eric Dyson, a brilliant mind, should have slammed, bammed, and canned Bill Maher, and he didn't do that. But let me tell you how he ended the interview. Dr. Michael Eric Dyson said, quote, he's had white people come up to him saying that they want to play their part in reparations for black people. And I'm paraphrasing. He said white people have been talking about how they can repay black people for the wrongs done. And then Michael Eric Dyson said he had a couple white people say that they bought some computers and took it over to a black school. He said he had a couple white people buy some computers and take the computers over to a black school, and he commended them for that as a form of reparations. I beg your pardon, brother. That ain't no damn reparations. Giving some computers to a black school ain't no damn reparations. Reparations is redistributing the wealth of America, Dr. Michael Eric Dyson. Reparations is redistributing the land of America, Dr. Michael Eric Dyson. Reparations is redistributing the resources of America, Dr. Michael Eric Dyson. We don't want no damn handouts from white folks. That's what's wrong with us now. We want freedom. We want justice, and we want equality. We want freedom. We want justice, and we want equality. We don't want no damn handouts. You don't let no white folks think that they off the hook for slavery because they gave a couple black kids a couple computers. Are you out your damn mind? Are you out your damn mind, Dr. Michael Eric Dyson? Did you really say that? Did I hear you say that you commended some white folks because they took some computers over to a black school? Are you kidding me? Did they give up their white privilege? Did they give up their retirement savings? Did they put anybody to work? Did they help a black person start their own business? Absolutely not. They did nothing to eliminate white privilege. They did nothing to establish justice. They did nothing to establish equality. They did nothing to redistribute the wealth of America. And you got the audacity to let them think that they have made good because they gave us some computers that were probably made by black prisoners inside of a jail, because they gave our kids some computers that were probably made by black prisoners inside of a jail. Brothers and sisters, I'm about to sign out because I'm hyped. Minneapolis, get to the lecture tomorrow. I got something to talk about. Minneapolis, get to the lecture tomorrow. I got something to talk about. Capri Theater. It only holds 250. You better get there early. We couldn't find a bigger venue. It only holds 250. You better get there early. I wish we could have found a bigger venue, but I'll be back. Seattle, I will see you Saturday. Seattle, I will see you Saturday. Washington, D.C., I will see you on Saturday the 25th for Power Talk. In Brooklyn, stand up. I will see you on Friday, June the 30th. Black Power. I'm out.